Welcome everybody, Kelvin here. Thank you for joining this stream today. Just bear with me. Just while we're waiting, let me know if the stream is okay or if I need to change any settings. Just give me a shout and I will do. Just while we're waiting. Okay, we'll give it one more minute and then we shall get started. Let me just tune in. Feel free to also share on Twitter or Facebook, whatever social media sites you have. I have tweeted it out on Twitter, so if you follow me on Twitter, feel free to retweet this. Alright, cool. I think we'll get started, and for anybody else that wants to join halfway through, they can catch up with the recording later on. So today my knowledge transfer is in regards to ACS and ISE. So basically the ACS is being phased out, and then we're looking to move customers away from ACS now onto ISE. So for those that are already working with customers that have ACS, have the ACS platform installed and configured already, you might have been in talks already about migrating away onto ISE. And Cisco, we have a very good tool that aids in the migration process to ISE, and that's called the ACS to ISE Migration Tool. So we're going to take a look at how we can actually do this today. Now I've set this up in a lab environment, and we'll go through it step by step. I'll just see if there's any questions before we start. So Kashif, thank you for tuning in. Yes, I am recording this session as well. So you'll be able to catch up with this after the stream ends on my YouTube channel. Cool. Okay, so there are a few prerequisites. In fact, there's actually a few more that I didn't add to this slide. So you need to have a ISE deployment. So let's look at it from a customer's perspective. They've been out and they've purchased their new ISE solution. And it's on their network waiting to be configured or waiting for the ACS configuration to be migrated over. So you'll have this on the network, and we need to also make sure that we have direct access to this. And it's the same with the ACS platform. We need to make sure that we also have direct access to this in order for the migration tool to work successfully. You'll then also need the ACS to ISE migration tool. This is downloaded via the Cisco website, so software.cisco.com. You need valid credentials to download this tool. And it's also worth noting that the ACS deployment needs to be ACS version 5.5 or above. In this current lab environment, I'm using ACS version 5.8 and ISE version 2.3. So my migration tool will work for this current scenario. And you also need a Windows machine for hosting the tool, and you need Java, I believe 7.1 or above installed on that Windows machine for it to work. And as I said previously, direct connectivity between the ACS and ISE nodes, so that we can use the Windows machine to connect to both using the migration tool, export the policy from ACS, and import the policy to ISE. There's also a few others, like I said, that I didn't mention. So we need to make sure that for the migration tool, we have the ISE certificate added to the migration tool, and also the ACS certificate added to the migration tool. Or you can run into problems where it will not connect to the devices to the ACS platform or ISE because it connects via REST API. So we'll take a look at that anyway shortly. So this is my environment. Again, this is slightly changed now because I've added a server so that I could resolve my IP addresses to a name, which is another requirement. So yeah, we've got the ACS platform version 5.8. We also have ISE 2.3. We have the Windows 7 machine, which is going to be hosting the migration tool, which has direct connectivity to ACS and ISE. And just as part of the topology, I also have an internet connection going out to the internet should we need be. So the subnet that we're using is it's a flat network, so it's 192.168.50.0/24, and we can see the subnets here. So if I just flick over a second, we can see here, this is where I've added the Active Directory domain controller. So if you are wanting to follow along either for lab purposes or if you're looking at implementing this in a customer environment, I'll show you quickly how I added the A records if you're not familiar with Active Directory, etc. So the use case for doing this is, it's a very common one, as you're gonna, if you're already working within a technical environment or already working with ACS and ISE, you probably no doubt coming across customers that are looking to migrate from ACS to ISE. So the use case I've got here is ACS's end of sale and end of life. Version 5.8, which is what I'm using in a lab environment now, went end of sale on the 30th of August last year. And the last day of support for 5.8 is the 31st of August 2022. So you can see the need of urgency here and why customers are looking to move to the newer platform, which is Cisco Identity Services Engine. Many customers with ACS platforms are starting to migrate their current solution to Identity Services Engine. The ISE migration tool gives customers the opportunity to maintain their existing policies while making use of new and improved features. So again, for those that have not really worked with ISE, there is a lot of features that ACS doesn't have, or improved features, if you like. So this is the setup configuration that we're going to go through. We may slightly deviate from this just to show you around a little bit and how I put together the lab environment. So just bear with me while we do that, and hopefully everything goes to plan. Hopefully we don't end up having to troubleshoot for hours on end. So yeah, we're going to start off by verifying connectivity to both the ACS and ISE from the Windows 7 client. As part of that as well, I'll show you the domain controller and our setup Active Directory to resolve the IP addresses to the FQDNs. And then we'll open the migration tool. We'll export the items from ACS, and I've just as a demonstration I've created a few things on my ACS box just to show how we or how the migration tool works. And we'll check the reports given from the ACS export, and then we'll import to ISE all being well with no problems, and then we'll check the ISE report, the import report, and then we'll also get onto the ISE box and have a look at the imported items. So without further ado, which is probably what a lot of you are waiting for, let's get into the nitty-gritty of the lab. So I'm going to start off by configuring the switch, which is this switch here, which is, give me a second, let me get it up. So it's this switch here. I'm going to start off by configuring that. I could have done it beforehand, but I just wanted to show you the configurations that I've used in order for like the domain lookup, etc. So just bear with me while I get those. I'll copy those in, then we can just do a show run and have a look at what's going on. It's very simple configuration, so for the purposes of this lab, we're just using VLAN 1. We're using a default gateway pointing out to the internet, and VLAN 1 as a default gateway which all devices point to as well. Okay, so I'll just copy this configuration in quickly, and then we'll do a show run, and I'll just show you the config that I've actually added. I just need to change the host name to SW1 and do show run. So you can hopefully, yeah, you should be able to see that. So don't really pay attention to the domain list, that doesn't really matter. I'm pointing the domain lookup to the source interface Ethernet 10. So if you look on the topology, this is actually this interface here, which is obviously pointing to the domain controller. And what happens is we'll try and resolve via the internal AD server, and if we don't have any records for that, the AD server, then we'll try and resolve out to Google. I think I've specified as 8888, so that's pretty much simple what I've got going on there. We're using IP domain name Wiizkid.com, so that's what my domain controller is, and I think that's it. Sure, run include. Oops. Yep, so my name server there is 50.3, which is referencing the Active Directory controller. So I can see a few questions coming up, so before I carry on, I will just answer them. So Kashif, yep, brilliant, thank you. Cracker, thank you. I'm interested in Cisco emulator. And do you have viral? So I'll answer both of those. So the Cisco emulator is well, we have two, if you like. We've got Packet Tracer, which is quite basic, and if you're a beginner, then it's a good way to start learning. And then we also have viral, which is not free. You need to pay for viral, and you also need to make sure that you've got sufficient resources to run viral because it's quite intensive. So yeah, that's a little bit more, I would say, for advanced users. So I mean, I don't know where you are within that spectrum, but maybe start off using Packet Tracer and work your way up. There's also GNS3, which is what I'm using now. This is not Cisco related though. And there's a few others which I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, if you got any more questions, just give me a shout, let me know. Okay, so now we've configured the switch. Let's go on to the management machine, which is a Windows 7 machine. And as you can see already, we have internet connectivity, and our domain is Wiizkid.com because this is joined to the domain. Okay, and what we can do as well, we can just verify connectivity outbound to the internet by pinging 8888, and we can also ping google.com to resolve the name against the IP, and you can see that works. Now we'll try and ping both of our boxes. So we'll ping we'll actually ping the fully qualified domain name actually, so we can see the domain controller working and DNS working internally. So we'll ping acs1.wiizkid.com, I believe it is, and as we can see there, we can resolve that name against the IP address, which is 50.240. And if we flip back to our topology, you can also see it's 50.240 on the left hand side. And we'll do the same then for the ISE node. So I believe this one is ping kelvins-lab.wiizkid.com. Yes, so that's right. So as you can see there, that's resolving as well, which is good news. So we've got DNS working internally. We can reach both ISE and ACS. Before we go on to opening the migration tool, I'll just show you, if you wanting to lab this up or actually do it on a customer website, in a customer environment, I'll show you how we can just quickly add a record in the server. So let me just log in. And then we'll just have a quick look at the DNS server that we've got internally. So in fact, I just need to go to tools. Just give it a quick second to load. Cracker's question. No, in fact, yes, I do have viral, in fact, but I don't really use it at the moment, to be honest. But yeah, I do have viral, and it's a good tool. So we'll go to DNS. I'll make it a little bit bigger when it opens so you can see. And in fact, hopefully you can see that. Just clicking on that. And what we've got here is in our there we go. Is that the one? Yeah. So under our domain structure, if you wanted to create a new A record, just do new host A or A record, and then you go through it. So for instance, the ACS one that I've got here, we can see that the FQDN is acs1.wiizkid.com, and it's resolving against that IP address. And that's the same as well for the ISE box. So we can, that's the way that's working. So pretty straightforward, and it all works as it should do. So what we'll do is we'll go back to the machine, and we'll now connect to ACS and ISE using the GUI, and then we'll open the migration tool once I've shown you the basic stuff, some of the basic stuff that I've configured within ACS, just so we can demonstrate the migration tool. A quick question from Kashif. Am I based in the UK? Yes, I currently work for Cisco in the UK. So I work in fact I work around the world actually, so not just in the UK, but yes, I am based in the UK. So let's just minimize that, and we'll just level this out so you can see it better. View. Just give me a second. Let me just make sure this screen's looking a little bit better for you guys. In fact, let's stop sharing that one, and then I'll there we go. So what we'll do now is we'll connect to ACS. So again, we'll do HTTPS, and it's acs1.wiizkid.com. As I say, it should resolve. And while that's loading, we'll also connect to the ISE box, which is https kelvins-lab.wiizkid.com. There it is. That one's loading quicker than, so as you can see, it's come straight up there. The ACS one isn't coming up as quick for some reason. Let me just double check that that's on. SES. Yeah, so that is on. It might just be taking its time. It's timed out. SES, yeah. Again, let me just make sure I can ping it. Yeah. So I might just need to check the services are up and running, but we'll try connect again. Sometimes it just takes its time. And while it does that, we'll log into ISE. Give that a second to load. Sometimes it does take a while to load. I'll have a look, see if there's any more questions. So Kashif, me too. Okay, cool. So what's your current job role? You're based in the UK. Who do you work? What company do you work for? So application reset config. So yeah, I can see as well so I've logged into ISE. I can also see with ACS we're going to need to just give it a reload because the one of the services aren't running the way they should be. So I'll just give that a quick reload. And that shouldn't take too long. And while we do that, we'll just take a look at a quick look at ISE. I have got it licensed up. I've got some users configured. So if we just go to identities, I've not got it added to Active Directory. But I already have some config in here, so you can see I've got a few usernames in here, which all of them are shown as disabled. In fact, I need to change the settings on that so it doesn't disable accounts after so long. But we can do that at a later time. I just want to show you that note's really configured in here. What else have we got in here? So device administration, policy elements. So I've got some policy elements configured, but again, not too much. So TACAX profile. So I've got a few shell profiles, but like I say, it's all pretty much bog standard. So what we need to do is we need to wait until this ACS box is reloaded, which is reloading now in the background, and then we should be able to continue the migration. So what we'll do is I'll just minimize that there for now. And while we're waiting, like I say, you do need a valid account to get onto Cisco's website and download, well, any software, not just the migration tool. But once you do have the migration tool, you extract it, open it up, and then you need to click on migration, and it will open a CMD window and start to load the migration tool. So as you can see there, it's starting to load now. So once the migration tool starts to open, hopefully you can see that. It's not the biggest, but once it starts to open, it tells you that it migrates data from ACS 4.2, 5.5 and later to ISE 2.3, which is the current migration tool that I've got. So I'm using ACS 5.x because I'm using ACS 5.8. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And then we've got a few options here. So we have the option to migrate all supported configuration objects to ISE, or only the objects related to either Radius or TACACS. TACACS is used for the device administration front. What we're going to do for this demonstration is we're going to just configuration of all supported objects, and it'll continue to load and open. So no, so we'll yeah, there we go. So the migration tool's open now. Just before I continue, I'm just gonna have a look, see if there's any more questions, and let me know if everything's okay with the video and audio. If not, then do let me know. So Kashif, okay, cool. So network security, okay, so same line, and working for NSC. Okay, cool, nice. So are you finding that you are getting approached by customers that are looking to migrate from ISE to from ACS to ISE, or you're just interested in how this actually works? And while we're waiting, I think ACS has loaded back up, so we'll just take this and we'll try and ping that. We might just have to wait till the services start, but I'll just log into that and we can check the status of the services. Okay, cool. So let me now see if I can get to ACS. It might still take some time to load. And by the way, this Google Chrome browser isn't supported for ACS, so we'll be seeing a prompt telling us that it's not supported, and we'll also see a few black tabs once we log into ACS, but it's not a problem. As we can see there, it's still loading by the looks of it. So I'll wait for that. This is pretty much the migration tool, or the application if you like, and we have the option here to migrate specific objects. So let's say, for instance, if you migrate users and identity services, you've got the option here to once you tick that, you can migrate Active Directory if you've got a connected, if you've got your ACS platform already integrated with Active Directory or LDAP. your host, your users that are currently configured. You know, you got external services, you got policy elements, so you can migrate your DACLs, shell profiles, command sets. So I think for my tutorial today, I have configured, I think, a shell profile and a command set and some users. Now I've done with the users, I've done some special characters because there is a few things that you can't use moving forward to ISE, and it'll show us in the warnings. And what this migration tool actually does for us, it can automatically change these things for you, which is quite cool. So what we'll do is we'll keep policy elements ticked. Policy groups we don't need. Devices, we've got no, I didn't add any network devices to it. We'll keep, I'm not too sure if I added Active Directory to it, but we'll keep it ticked anyway. External servers, nope. Dictionaries, yeah, we'll keep dictionaries. Global operations will take off, and predefined reference points will take off. So hopefully it doesn't take that long to migrate. So yep, now we can connect to ACS, which also tells us that the browser isn't supported. Let me just check this certificate. Yep, so that's fine. And let's log into ACS so we can take a look. And as you can see, what it means by when it's not supported is things like this. So these tabs here shouldn't be black, but when you click on them, they open. So yeah, it's not a big deal. But yeah, so if we go to Active Directory, I think I started the process of adding it, but I'm not too sure if I completed it. But it's not to worry, we'll just leave it selected anyway. I also created some users, so we'll just let this load so we can check, and then we'll check the users. And the main point of actually doing this and showing you guys this now is so that we can see what configuration we've got on this ACS demo environment, and then we can see it hopefully migrate successfully across to our ISE platform, which is obviously sat here. So yeah, I don't think I've fully completed that, but not to worry. So if we click on users then, so I created a test-user_01. So we'll see what happens with that when we start the migration. And I also created another user called knowledge transfer user, which is for today. Just looking at some of the questions. Recently deployed ISE version 2 and it had a bug, so install patch 7. Cool. If we leave all clicked, is that harm? So no. If you decide to, I mean, the only reason I've not left them all clicked is because you know, it takes longer for the export to occur, and obviously with me doing this live, I don't want you sat there for like 20 minutes just looking at a screen while the export does its thing. So no, it won't be, it shouldn't cause any problems if you leave them all ticked. So they're the users I've created, and I also said that I created a shell profile and command sets, so I think they're in not that one. It doesn't help with it all being black. Network authorization. Oh no, it's in that one. So we've got default device. Let me just check in this one actually. Sometimes it does take a while to load. and telling users, that's fine. It's going to start playing up because it's taking its time to load, but not to worry. So what we'll do is, just to save time, I'll minimize that there for now, and what I shall do is we'll start. So I mentioned at the start, for those that tuned in at the start of the knowledge transfer session, I mentioned at the start that we need to make sure that we've got the ACS certificate and the ISE certificate exported and then imported into this migration tool. So to do that, once you open the migration tool, you go to settings and trusted certificates, because if it's not in here as a trusted certificate, it just won't connect. Yeah, I've had a few problems with that, so that's one of the gotchas. So once you've exported it, import the certificate. So as you can see, I've got both certificates imported here. You just simply click add, find your certificate and add it. To pull your certificate from, let me discard that. To pull your certificate from ACS, you go to System Administration, and then if I can see it, not under licensing, I can't see it. I'm going blind. Alright, it should be in here somewhere. Local services, global system options. Nope, I can't find it. Licensing. Sorry, it's there. Local certificates. So look, ISE's ACS is already starting to play up. So yeah, your local certificate is here. So you just simply click on that, and then there should be an option to export it. And we go back here. There it is. So click on the little radio tab and export there. That's how you do it for ACS. And for ISE, go to Administration, Certificates. You can tell I work with ISE a lot more. And then you look for the certificate, if you've got a self-signed certificate, that is even. It's this one here, Admin Portal. Then you just click on that, export the certificate as well. Okay, cool. So back to the migration tool. So you've got your certificates now installed. You've selected what objects you want to export, and now we need to export from ACS. So we'll click export from ACS. Apologies if this is a little small, it doesn't give you the option to make it bigger. So once we do that, we first type the host name. So in my case, it's acs1.wiizkid.com. The username for me is SES admin, and my password is my password. So we'll connect, hopefully no problems, and we'll see it working in the background as well here. And it's really good because it shows you the progress of each step and what's happening as well. There we go, so we're connected, and it's starting with the dictionaries, and we can see there we've got information for 6. 6 have been successful, so if you can click on it halfway through as well. So these won't be exported because they're already predefined, so that's fine. So you can even expand it to see what it's actually doing, which I think is quite cool. So yep, it's still carrying on now. So while that's doing that, hopefully it shouldn't take too long anyway. Maybe I shouldn't have selected dictionaries because we didn't need them really, but yeah, while that's doing that, let me see if we have any questions. Alright, cool, no questions. Nice. Has anybody got any questions in relation to ACS or ISE or in general? Let me know where you're tuning in from. I'll wait for this to complete. Most of these I would have thought will be exported because they're predefined. So my name is Kelvin. You can follow me on Twitter at Wiizkid. I think the link is here. Yep, so there's my name, Wiizkid. I also have a blog, if you wasn't aware. So I post quite a lot of security related topics on my blog, www.synac.co.uk. There's also a bunch of other engineers from different companies and different backgrounds, working with vendors such as Fortinet, Palo Alto, etc. that posts a lot of good content on there as well. So you can go on there and you can subscribe. Flip back to this management machine. So as you can see, a lot happens in the background. Hopefully it doesn't take too much longer now. It's the dictionaries that take the... In fact, what I'll do, just to save time, I can cancel the export, and I'll reopen it, and I won't add the dictionaries because we don't need them anyway. But as you can see, as I've just shown you there, even that, you know, it can take some time. So if you've got a full productional ACS deployment with, you know, a lot of configuration, it can take some time. So what we'll do is we can, and the good thing is, if you ever end up shutting down the migration tool, you know, by accident, or the computer crashes or whatever, you do have the option to actually restart what we're going on. In our case, we're not going to do that. So we'll just deselect these, and we're just going to keep external servers, not devices, policy elements, and that's it. Policy elements, use external, no, we didn't say external servers. Devices, no, we didn't have non-policy elements. And user identities, yeah, we'll just keep them. So again, export from ACS, acs1.wiizkid.com, ACS admin, password 1. Like connect, and you should see it happen a lot quicker this time. It's probably better. There we go. So again, we expand that, and it's nearly finished now already. So Active Directory, as I said, I started to add it, but I'm not too sure if I completed it. But we can see anyway, see what happens with this migration tool. So what's it say for Active Directory? Yep, AD1 will not be exported because it was not defined. Yep, that's fine. So I must not have finished it. So that's that done. Now we're on policy elements. And I think it's actually all just completed. So yeah, a lot quicker there. So then once what we do when it's completed, instead of just importing straight to ISE, we need to look at more specifically, more than anything, the errors, any errors that we get. But you know, you need to also look at the warnings and information as well. So you do this by the export report, clicking on that. And what we can do is we can start from the top, and just have a quick read through it, see what's been successful. So identity groups all successful. We've got that on ISE anyway. Yeah, that profile won't be exported. Error. Certificate username will not be exported. Success 1. So you really want to look for the warning ones and the error ones. So as I said here, I don't know if you can really see this. It don't let me expand, zoom in, which is a bit rubbish. But basically, we've got under the users, we've got 2 warnings. So we can see the password type for user test --_01 will be set to internal database as the database store is not found in the cache data. That's fine. The password, yep, so that's the same. Authorization policy, yeah, it's predefined in ISE, so we've got these default policies here that won't be imported. Our shell profiles, so that's the shell profile I created. Sure. Success. Yeah, again, deny all commands. Shell profile, this is command set, sorry, is in ISE already, so this won't be exported. So the good thing about the migration tool is that it won't just unnecessarily import objects that are already predefined in ISE, which is quite cool. We can see that within the command sets, this is something that I created. The show dash commands contains unsupported characters, so this is what we're talking about. And the migration tool should change it, and it says it's converted to show underscore commands. So you can see the name's gone from show dash commands to show underscore commands. So the migration tool's also good in that respect, that it does this for you. It doesn't spit out an error and says, you know, go back and change that, because could you imagine having to go back and do that for, you know, 50 different command sets? It'd be, you know, a pain in the ass. And yeah, that's it really. So once you're happy with your export report, what we can do then is we can go and import to ISE. Use the following dialog. Yeah. So yeah, ISE FQDN, so it's kelvins-lab.wiizkid.com. And my username is admin, and what was my password? That should be my password. So hopefully we should see this work. I've got the certificate on the migration tool, so I don't see why there should be any problems. We've got connectivity. Please ensure the migration tool. That's another thing, in fact, that I forgot to mention and show you. So within ACS and ISE, you need to enable the migration interface, and you do this via the CLI. So I haven't got it on the screen to share with you. In fact, I could get it on the screen to share with you. Give me a second while we have a look at this, because this is something that will cause you problems. Okay, so let me add my screen. Cool. So what I'm going to do, in fact, is I'll just make it a little bit smaller for you guys so you can actually see it. There we go. That's better. So with the migration tool, we can do show. I think it's show. That's it. Show ACS config web interface, and this command will show you whether the migration tool interface is enabled, which it is on the ACS in my case because I've enabled it, but judging by the error that we've just got from ISE, it's not. So while that's loading, I'll just see if we've got any questions. So Manak Tech Tips, thank you for tuning in. What's the topic? How's the weather in London? So the topic is ACS to ISE migration today, which is very useful. And the weather, hold on, let me see if I can, I don't know if I can zoom it in anymore, just give me a second. Yeah, as I was saying, the weather is it's rather sunny today actually, which is quite good. I don't know if I can't really zoom it in anymore, so I hope you can see that a little bit better. So yeah, as you can see, or hopefully see, we can see once you do show up ACS-config web interface, we can see that the migration interface is enabled. So if we do the same there for ISE, we're probably not going to get the same. So let me add that. So let me log into ISE. And we'll do the same, so it should be the same. Show application. In fact, I don't believe it is actually. Let me just double check what that command is. Check that. Oh, good. Good. At least you can see it now, which is good. Can you see the bottom? In fact, you might not be able to see that bottom, will you? So let me change this like this, and hopefully that's still not going to be better. Hopefully you can see that there because you're missing the bottom, but you should be able to. I'll just stretch it a little bit. There we go. Okay, let me know if you can see that fine now. Can you see the bottom now? You should be able to see the bottom now, hopefully. Oh, in fact, let me move that up a little bit, sorry. Now you should be able to see the bottom. Newton Graham, so will this replace configuring all layer 2 devices via the CLI rather than sending an updated script to all devices? So I'm not too sure what your question is. So I mean, in terms of configuring layer 2 devices, i.e. switches, etc., there is other methods where you can do it with scripts, but this platform is Identity Services Engine, so it's access, secure access management. I hope that makes sense. So I just need to do. That's what I do. Now check in the migration interfaces, won't I? Fact application configure ISE, and then we should be given some options there. Yes, that's right. So you can see it's slightly different from ACS. We need to select number 11, which is enable disable ACS migration. This will enable the interface. It's recommended also, are you sure you want to enable it? Yes. And then we exit out of there. So it's recommended that once you've completed the migration, you disable these interfaces again. So going back to our Windows machine, let's now try again and connect. So you can see there now we've connected straight away. So that's one thing to bear in mind with these migrations. So I'll just have a look while this is migrating across to our ISE box. I'll just have a look at the questions again. So I forgot. What we did at work was change the ACS server IP to ISE server IP address on each device. Yes, I think so from my understanding, what you're referring to here is that you once your customer or whoever's deployment it was, you wanted to use the same IP addresses you were using previously on ACS and put them on ISE. So yeah, I think what you would have done is, if I'm right, you would have probably given the ISE a temporary IP address, or ACS moved them onto temporary IP addresses, and then transition ISE to the IP addresses that you wanted. Is that what you're trying to say, Newton? So moving back to this, we can see now the migration, the import's finished. We can see the process here. We can see we've got no errors, warnings, none of that, which is brilliant. So now let's look at our ISE. We're probably going to have to reload it because probably timed us out. So anyway, just give this a second to load. Kind of glad we run into that issue with the migration interfaces actually, because I would have forgot to mention that. And do is first we're going to see if these users have come across as they should have done. So there were 2 users. So yeah, we can see there we've got knowledge transfer user and we have test user 01. Both have been migrated across successfully, which is good. And also one thing to point out as well, as you can see, I already had some configuration on my ISE box because I've been using it for other labs that I've done. So you can see that it's not a brand new ISE deployment. It doesn't need to be a brand new ISE deployment. You can have configuration on there already. So that's one thing to kind of make note of. And then we did, what else did we do? We had some shell profiles, didn't we? So let's go to device admin policy sets. Was it? No, it'd be policy elements. In fact, I'm in the command sets. So yeah, we can see the show command, or the show underscore commands. It was on ACS, it was show / commands. So the migration tool successfully changed that for us, which is brilliant. And TACAX profiles, we've got the show one there, which has also come across as well, which is quite cool. And that's all, I believe. In fact, let's just, oh no, it said Active Directory wouldn't be migrated across because I didn't do it all, but we'll just double check. Yeah, so we haven't got no join point there, but that's fine. So yeah, we can see that the migration tool has successfully worked, and hopefully I've been able to show you the process and how it works and what you need to take into consideration for it to work. I hope you found this session useful. It's taken us about an hour, which is quite good, pretty much on time, which is good. So just before I end this session today, I'll just briefly break to see if you guys have any more correct then. As I say, this video will be posted on my YouTube channel after this session, so you can watch it back and take notes from it if needs be. If you've got any questions, just drop me a comment on the video or on Twitter or anywhere on my blog, wherever. But yeah, I'll give it 1 minute, so if anybody's got any questions, any feedback, do let me know. Anything they'd like to see moving forward from a lab perspective, do let me know. I hope you've subscribed to my YouTube channel, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, subscribe to the blog. There's information all over. WhatsApp for me, I don't have a group set up on WhatsApp actually. That's more of a kind of personal thing for me. I believe that if you're part of the Lab Everyday movement, shout out to Duan, you can join a Slack group. I believe they've got a Slack group set up. Other than that, you can always reach out to me on my YouTube channel. You can reach out to me, like I say, on my blog or on Twitter. You can reach out to me on Twitter if you want, if you've got any questions I can help with. But yeah, I don't think there's any group on WhatsApp that I'm aware of anywhere. I believe that it's just on Slack at the moment. I'm not too sure what the Slack group is. Give me a second. I'm going to try and find that information for you before we finish this. And hopefully let me just try and find that for you. Or if anybody that's watching now knows the Slack group, feel free to post that. Yeah, can't find it straight away for you, but what I can do is I can post that link on this video after the session. Yeah, I'll do that. And if you're newbie struggling all the time, I suggest you, if you've got Twitter, get involved, search the hashtag lab every day, and there's a lot of newbies, if you like, and a lot of people that are learning networking, security, and other technology areas that are helping one another out. It's a brilliant community, so I suggest that you get on there. And like I say, I'll be normally posting videos and blog posts anyway on particular topics. So yeah, just look out for them. So yeah, I suppose if there's not any more questions, guys, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to end the stream now. I hope you found it useful. I hope you can take this information away and actually perform your own ACS to ISE migration, whether that be in a lab environment or for your customer. So yeah, thank you for watching. Goodbye.